After explaining in the previous video the steps of synaptic functioning or transmission, you are now able to memorize these steps and to try to draw this label diagram on your copybook and to memorize the steps and the labeling here. So the first step, arrival of the action potential, then opening of voltage Ca2 plus channels, exocytosis of the vesicles and release of neurotransmitters in the synaptic cleft, binding to the neurotransmitters to their specific postsynaptic receptors, opening of chemical dependent channels, and entry or outflow of ions into or from the postsynaptic membrane, which produces a postsynaptic potential or PSP. And finally, elimination of the neurotransmitter. They will be recaptured by the presynaptic membrane or degraded by specific enzyme, or they diffuse out of the synaptic cleft. The same steps are observed in a neuromuscular synapse. As you can see here, you have the terminal bud of a presynaptic neuron. We have here vesicles containing a neurotransmitter called acetylcholine. So acetylcholine is the neurotransmitter involved in the neuromuscular synapse. And here you have the muscle fiber or the muscle cell. It contains mitochondria and it contains receptors for acetylcholine. Acetylcholine, when it binds to the receptors on the muscle, on the voluntary muscles, it allows their contraction and thus the transmission of the message. Concerning the nature of the nervous message, at the level of the presynaptic neuron, the nature is electrical. We have the arrival of an action potential. At the level of the synaptic cleft, the message is of chemical nature through the neurotransmitters released. At the level of the postsynaptic neuron, the message is electrical again, since we have creation of a postsynaptic potential. Note that in a synapse, the nervous message is coded or modulated by the concentration of neurotransmitters released in the synaptic cleft. We have explained before in the previous sessions that the nervous message at the level of a nerve fiber is coded by the frequency of action potentials and not the amplitude. When the intensity of stimulation increases, the number or frequency of action potential increases. In the synapse, when the stimulation increases or the intensity of stimulation increases, the action potential in the presynaptic neuron, their number increases. So the concentration of the neurotransmitters released in the synaptic cleft also increases, leading to the increase in the frequency of action potential created in the postsynaptic neuron. So the nervous message in a synapse is coded by the concentration, the amount of neurotransmitters released in the synaptic cleft. Hope you study this document. We have finished document 5. In the next video we will be explaining document 6, how is the nervous message integrated by neurons in the nerve centers. And thanks for listening.